And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Efforts to create a government-run health insurance plan were dealt a setback Tuesday after the Senate Finance Committee rejected a pair of amendments to create a public option. Both amendments were defeated when a group of Democrats, including Senate Finance Committee Chair Max Baucus, joined with Republicans to oppose the public option. Supporters of the public option say a government plan is needed to help keep private insurance plans honest. Baucus voted against both amendments, as did Democrats Blanche Lincoln of Arkansas and Kent Conrad of North Dakota. Democratic Senators Bill Nelson of Florida and Tom Carper of Delaware voted against one of the public option amendments but supported the other. During Tuesday's debate, Committee Chair Max Baucus of Montana defended his vote.
As said before, I see a lot to like in the public option. There's a lot here. I included, for example, a public option in the white paper that I released last year, and the public option would help to hold insurance companies' feet to the fire. I don't think there's much doubt about that. But my first job is to get this bill across the finish line. There's a lot in this bill that will reform the insurance market. There's a lot in this bill that will control costs. And there's a lot in this bill that will expand coverage to millions of Americans. Those things have to be my priority, and thus I'll have to vote no today on this amendment.
Senator Max Baucus has been widely criticized for his close ties to the healthcare and insurance industry. The Montana Democrats collected over $4 million from the healthcare industry throughout his career. His chief health advisor, Elizabeth Fowler, is a former executive for the insurance giant WellPoint. His previous chief health advisor, Michelle Easton, now lobbies for WellPoint. To talk more about the Senate Finance Committee vote, we're joined by Wendell Potter, former top executive at CIGNA, one of the nation's largest for-profit health insurance companies. Up until last year, Wendell Potter served as head of corporate communications at CIGNA and as CIGNA's chief corporate spokesperson. He also once headed communications at Humana, another large for-profit health insurer. Wendell Potter is now a fellow at the Center for Media and Democracy and has become one of the industry's most prominent whistleblowers. Wendell Potter, welcome again to Democracy Now! Your reaction to the Senate Finance Committee vote?
Thank you, Amy. It was expected. I don't think many people really expected that the Senate Finance Committee, led by Senator Max Baucus, would report out a bill that included the public option. But I think the important thing to remember is this is one of a number of committees that is working on this and reporting out bills, and it by no means is the final answer on this. I'm very optimistic that the final bill that reaches the President's desk will include a public option.
And what exactly do you think is going to accomplish this?
You know, I think it could happen in a number of different ways. The House legislation, I think, that is ultimately passed by the House will include a strong public option. And I know from talking to many members of Congress that there is very strong support in both the House and the Senate. And the bill that came out of the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, which had been led by Senator Kennedy and now is being led by Senator Tom Harkin of Iowa, has a very strong public option. This is the only committee, the Senate Finance Committee, that has rejected it at this point. And it's the most conservative of the committees. I hope that Senator Baucus will come to realize that he is one of 60 Democrats who can get this bill through Congress and get it through the Senate, and that he understands that his responsibility should be to persuade those other members of his party in the Senate that they should vote for this, and the reasons why he gave himself why it's important.
A new poll has come out by NPR, the Kaiser Family Foundation, the Harvard School of Public Health, that finds that so far the public feels profoundly shut out of the current overhaul debate. In fact, 71% told the Kaiser Family Foundation that Congress is paying too little attention to what people are saying. Relate that, people feeling shut out, with the Finance Committee vote against a public option.
You know, I think there's a great correlation. I have been frustrated myself that there's been very little attention clearly paid by Senator Baucus and other members of the committee to what the public really wants. There's been consistently strong support for the public option in every single poll that I've seen. And you were mentioning earlier about the people on the senator's staff who have either worked for previously or currently for WellPoint. Speaks volumes, I think. I've been contacted by a lot of members of Congress, senators and members of the House, and I've had a chance to sit down and talk with them about some of the things that I know as a former insider, someone who's worked 20 years in the industry. Not once have I heard from anyone on Senator Baucus's team.
We're talking to Wendell Potter. For 20 years, he was executive at CIGNA and Humana. Most importantly, in the years at CIGNA, he was their chief corporate spokesperson, but has left to blow the whistle on insurance companies. What about the role, Wendell Potter, of the National Association of Insurance Commissioners playing in the Baucus legislation?
Well, it's an inappropriate role. I mean, the NAIC does good work. It comprises state insurance commissioners around the country and helps in setting rules. But it is proposing rules. The state legislatures have to adopt the regulations that they follow, giving them the inordinate authority that they have in the Baucus bill is just not appropriate. There needs to be much stronger state and federal regulation.
Talk about the role of these insurance companies in determining the legislation. You allude to the WellPoint execs working with Max Baucus, he himself getting millions of dollars from the health insurance industry. But exactly how it works, you were at CIGNA. What kind of control do these companies have over these men and women in Congress that they subsidize, that they bankroll?
You know, in many different ways. Through political action committees, part of my responsibilities, a person on my staff was responsible for administering the political action committee, which doles out money that employees of companies contribute to be used by the company at its discretion to give to candidates and often to incumbents and candidates who have a history or promise to vote the way the company would want it to vote. Through fundraisers, I, during my time in the industry, participated and paid for some of the members actually at luncheons who are on the Senate Finance Committee, including some of the Democrats. That happens. Relationships, hiring people who used to work for the senator as lobbyists, or having people who have other close ties, including former members of the Congress, the Senate and the House, to do lobbying. It happens in many different ways.
I want to go back to yesterday's debate in the Senate Finance Committee. Democratic Senator Charles Schumer, who introduced one of the public option amendments, questioned Republican Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa over his rejection of government-run health insurance option.
I'd just like to know what you think of Medicare, a government-run program that's far more government-run than what Senator Rockefeller has proposed. Do you think Medicare is a good program? Because most of the amendments on the other side have been aimed at preserving Medicare, a government-run program.
I think that Medicare is part of the social fabric of America. After 40 years, just like Social Security is, and I don't say that because it's perfect. There's a lot of things that need to be changed, and a lot of the things in this legislation are changing a lot of things that's wrong with Medicare. To say that I support it is not to say that it's the best system that it can be.
But it is a government-run plan, isn't that right? It is
a government-run plan, and the reason I say it's part of the social fabric of America is there are private health insurance plans and retirement plans that are connected with Medicare and Social Security, and it's not easy to undo a Medicare plan without also hurting a lot of private initiatives that are coupled with it. But that does not make it perfect, and I'll bet, based upon 50 years of experience, if we had to do it over again, we'd do it other ways, even if it were a government-run plan.
That was Chuck Grassley. Wendell Potter, your response.
Well, clearly, the senator has the insurance industry's best interests at heart, and not the American public, and not his constituents. The Medicare program is, as he said, part of the social fabric of this country, and has been for many years. And it is a government-run plan that has meant a great deal of difference to a lot of people in this country, including certainly his constituents. He has said that he didn't think a public plan would be fair. Compete fairly with insurance companies who are the private insurance insurance industry. I'd like to ask him what is fair about the way that the insurance industries operate today, the companies that dump sick people when they need insurance most. What is fair about the way the insurance industry operates, Senator Grassley?
45 million new customers. That's what the private insurance companies can now look forward to if a bill like what came out of the Senate Finance Committee moves forward with the mandate. Explain how they will make out and how important, how significant, how profitable this is for the for-profit companies.